Hello and welcome to the Crypto Club and Digital Assets weekly catch-up on Zoom. It is Sunday the 5th of November 2023, and with all of these sessions we never quite know what we're going to end up talking about. It really depends upon the audience. Some weeks we talk about blockchain, the metaverse, DeFi, NFTs, ICOs, STOs, TGEs, any other three-letter acronym to do with crypto, really. We talk about regulation, legislation, things that are going on in the marketplace, but this is also for everybody to come along to. So whether you're a beginner who's just trying to figure out what some of these weird terms are, or if you're somebody who's been running projects in this space for years, this session is for you. We hold these meetings every Sunday evening, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. UK time on Zoom. And we also encourage people, if they want to talk about their projects, we have a Gone in 3 Minutes session, which is where you get to do a pitch of your project. You have 180 seconds to talk. No videos, no PowerPoints, no other additions, just talk about your project. So we've had a number of interesting topics discussed already around the metaverse, around real world assets, around tokenization of gold, tokenization of property, several others as well. Anyway, if you'd like to know more details, do come on and join us for a future session. There is a link in the comments below. Meanwhile, let's see who's going to come and join us today. And hey, Daniel.
Hello.
We can hear you and we can see you. This is a great start. How are you today?
Right?
Yeah. Have you been along to any of these sessions before, Daniel?
I haven't, no. I did drop you a LinkedIn message.
Okay.
I have been on one of your sessions before, and it was with the CII. You did a bit about cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, excellent. So we can chat about insurance and blockchain.
Yeah, correct. We can.
Excellent. That's good. Well, we've just been joined by Gabrielle as well, who's not got a camera on, but Gabrielle, I believe, is in Madrid. Hola.
Hello.
How you? Oh, she's put a camera on. Oh, no. Sorry, that's Christelle. Hey, Christelle.
Hello.
Hey, say hi. Tell us where you're connecting in from, Christelle.
I'm connecting in from Miami.
Fantastic. That's great. Well, we've got a nice international reflection today. Daniel, whereabouts in the UK are you? Yeah.
From sunny Sunderland.
Okay. Excellent. Couldn't be a better place, could it? Lovely weather at the moment. Yeah. So, hey, Christelle, so we've got a couple of people from the UK. We've got Gabrielle from Spain. And Christelle, sorry, where did you say coming in from? The States, did you say? Miami?
Yeah, excuse the scarf on my head, but hello. I was invited here by Fuzzy. Do you know who Fuzzy is?
I don't.
He's from the UK. Okay, well, he dropped this link in my Telegram chat because he thought that this would be a good conversation for me to be a part of.
Fantastic.
So I clicked on the Zoom and here I am. Yeah, I'm in Miami.
Brilliant.
So great to be here. Hi, I'm Christelle.
So what actually brings you along then, Crystal? What was your area of interest?
Well, I'm new to Web3. So I got into Web3 tech and a community with Gary Club back in July. And I'm an educator building a gamified learning platform. So found Web3 tech and really loving the technology as a way to gamify my community and learning. We have a social token and yeah, so here I am. So I'm new and I'm learning all about crypto, Web3, I'm really into AI. So whatever part of the conversation, my friend thought that I would connect here. That's me. That's why I'm here.
but brilliant. We never quite know what we're going to cover, but it's definitely going to be around that kind of space. Gabrielle, you're into Web3 at the moment, aren't you? Gabrielle sometimes goes a little bit quiet. Well, I thought Gabrielle had mentioned previously that she was into the Web3 space. Is she going to tell us she's come off mute? But I can't hear her.
I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry, Gabrielle, I was saying, aren't you into the Web3 space in particular? Didn't you say recently?
In the Web3?
Yeah. Maybe not then. Okay, no problem. It's not an issue. So, Christelle, welcome aboard anyway. Daniel has seen me actually giving a talk before now, which I think was the crypto in insurance conversation that I had a while ago. I kind of say if you draw a couple of circles and one of them says insurance, and you draw another circle and it says blockchain and cryptocurrency, where the two circles overlap, it has my name. So that's my kind of comfort zone type thing. So I do a lot of stuff in the insurance sector, and I've been involved in blockchain, which is the technology sitting underneath crypto, as you probably know. I've been doing that for about 8 or 9 years, and started getting into crypto probably about 6 or 7 years ago, because you can't escape it if you get into blockchain type thing. So that's really good. But yeah, Daniel, aside from the insurance side of things, are you a general interest in crypto and blockchain and what's going on, and the links and that, or is it more specifically around the industry type thing?
To be fair, I am extremely interested in how it will affect insurance in the coming years. I met someone at a networking event about a year ago now, and he has a market indicator for crypto analysis, and he got me into it anyways. I'd invested in the past, but only sporadically, and then from there I've just tried to expand my knowledge as much as possible. I'm trying to write like a cryptocurrency fact file on all the coins, just so I can kind of get a good base understanding, and just want to be involved in more chats like this to broaden my knowledge, to be honest.
Well, stick around, and this session will definitely broaden your knowledge, I hope. And we're joined by the legendary networker, Mark Jarrett. Hey, Mark, we haven't spoken for a few weeks. Mark's still doing the 20th century thing of speaking on mute.
Okay. Good to see you again, Gary. And Daniel, you're in good hands if you want to learn more about cryptos. And Gary is your go-to. He eats, lives, and breathes crypto, don't you, Gary?
Particularly combined with insurance as well, funnily enough. Yeah, it's definitely my comfort zone without a doubt. So I don't know. We'll begin with then, because we never know quite how these sessions are going to go. Gabrielle comes along quite often, so she knows that these sessions can take whatever avenues and that. Mark, you've been on a couple of these calls, I think, in the past. But Christelle, who's in from Miami, and Daniel, who's joined us from Sunderland, it's probably a little bit different for them. So we really just do open it up at the beginning in terms of if anyone's got any initial questions, let's make sure that we can cover those off. So I find if someone's new and they've joined, it's a great opportunity to ask some basic questions, or if they've heard anything in the news, or they've seen anything, or if they've got any general things they'd like to share. I don't know, anyone got anything they want to share at the beginning, or any questions or anything?
The big one I've got, with doing some research on Ripple and XRP, security or commodity, it's baffling my brain at the minute, to be honest.
Okay.
It's probably quite simple, I can imagine. But just understanding that lawsuit in itself, I feel like I need to have a base understanding of what it's actually about. Okay.
So for those who don't know, first of all, XRP is a cryptocurrency built on the Ripple blockchain by RippleNet. And the reason there was recently a court case is that in the USA, there are multiple regulators who are taking an interest in crypto. So the SEC, which is the Securities Exchange Commission, this is the federal regulator in the US responsible for the regulation of the issuance of what are known as securities. So these might be like stocks and shares and investments, that kind of thing. In the USA, there are many other regulators. There's also the CFTC, which is the Commodities Trading Exchange. I can't even remember most of the others, but there's the Department of Justice, there's the Department of Trade, there's also, and they're all trying to take an interest in crypto because they all want to be the agency responsible for securing it. And today, Lawrence, we've been joined by Fuzzy as well. Hey there, who introduced Christelle. So thanks for that. So yeah, in terms of whether a particular crypto is a currency stroke money or a commodity or a security really depends, first of all, upon the jurisdiction, because it varies from country to country. And it then depends upon the regulatory stance at the time. So the SEC is trying to claim that pretty much everything's a security because that way they get to have ownership, oversight of it. So the specific case that has been in the press lately was that the SEC was prosecuting Ripple Labs for the use of XRP, that they said when it was issued, it was being treated as a security, which means that they said that you were selling this token to generate money that was going to be used to build a business, make profit for everybody, blah, blah, blah. So in the USA, they have what's called the Howey test. And the Howey test was created, I think it was in the 1930s or something, as a legal definition of what a security is. And so you have, I think it's 5 different tests. It's about, did people invest in something with a reasonable expectation of making money? Were they investing in something with express intent that someone else would manage a project in some way? And there's a few other things as well. And so the SEC argued that the way XRP was initially issued and sold to the public meant it qualified as a security, and therefore they had domain. And because Ripple hadn't registered as a security, so a bit like if you're doing a share launch or an IPO or something, you're supposed to register and that kind of thing, they hadn't. So the SEC was saying, well, this is a security and you've not registered, so you're in breach. The actual decision of the judge was actually multi-part. And what she said, if I remember correctly, is that the issuance of the cryptocurrency to consumers, so people like you and I, but mainly in the States, was not done as a security offering, whereas the issuance to organizations, it was. So it's kind of, it is and it isn't a security depending upon the context. And that probably doesn't make it any clearer whatsoever for you, Daniel. But let's just say it's something that tends to get discussed and negotiated in court. So there's lots of stuff. So if anyone wants to know more about that, I suggest go and take a look at the web. There's loads of write-ups around SEC, XRP, and the recent court case. There's still some other court action going on with that as well. So we'll see where that goes. So Daniel, it was a very long non-answer, I guess, as to whether XRP is a currency, a commodity, or a security. And again, it comes back to, it depends which jurisdiction you're in. I think in Dubai, was it Dubai the other day, they just announced that they were accepting XRP as a registered cryptocurrency. I think Fernando, who's on at the moment, he might be able to confirm that, I'm not sure. Or anyone else. I see we've been joined by Elena, who's another regular, and Dave Burrells as well. I don't know if anyone's got any other thoughts around whether XRP is a security or a whatever. But it's one of those grey areas which tends to get decided in court. So what I was going to suggest, Christelle, I think you said you had a question. So go for it, ask away.
Well, I would love to know whatever you would want to share with a beginner in this space when it comes to crypto, especially insurance, because it sounds like that's your area of expertise, and that would definitely be new for me. So that's all. Okay. All I would, ask at this point.
I guess the immediate thing I always say to anybody on any of these calls, or anyone who are me who's just getting into crypto, is first of all, anything I say is not financial, legal, or taxation advice. So I just want to throw this out. This is purely educational and it's purely an opinion and that kind of thing. Crypto is a fascinating space, and I believe it's going to grow and grow in terms of its interest. I don't believe it's going to replace the existing traditional financial systems. I think it's going to augment them, and it's going to be a channel in its own right. I would say, people say, should I buy Bitcoin? Should I buy Ethereum or whatever? I don't offer investment advice. It's totally up to people. However, if you do choose to buy some crypto, all I would suggest is, first of all, don't listen to anybody at all on social media unless they've got three things, okay? So if they've got these three things, it means they know what they're talking about. The first is that they must have made enough money out of their crypto investments to own their own private yacht, okay? The second is that they've got to... It's not me, and that's why you shouldn't listen to me either. The second one is that they have to own their own Caribbean island, and the third is that they have to have their own executive jet. If they've not got those three things made through crypto, then they're probably speculating and they've just been fortunate. And what you find with crypto, there are periods where crypto prices just go up and up and up. And that's where everyone starts thinking they're experts because they're making money. And then the market collapses again and they disappear and you don't hear from them again. So always be cautious of anything you see or hear on social media. There are a lot of scammers out there. I hope I can excuse myself from that on the basis I'm not offering you recommendations on things, but do be really, really careful about that. The other thing as well is if you can afford to, dabble a little bit, but buy a cryptocurrency, whatever it is, just a small amount, just to experience going through how you actually create a wallet, how you buy crypto, how you register with an exchange. It is very difficult at the moment, but it's getting easier and easier. But once you've done that, then you are part of that journey. And if the crypto goes to zero, you've not lost anything. And if it goes up, you've made some money. And then the final thing is, as a general recommendation, never put in more money than you can afford to lose. And by lose, I mean completely lose. So I have known people who put like life savings in. That's not a great idea. So, it really is at your own risk. So, Crystal, I hope that all makes sense and is some basic guidance, really. But go and, you can get things like Bitcoin Cash, which is a cryptocurrency which is much easier to buy than Bitcoin because of the price. Just going through that process of working out how you register with an exchange to buy some crypto, how you actually buy it. Going through that experience is an education in its own right. And particularly if you're into the Web3 space, then having a wallet where the crypto wallet is probably going to be used for your identity and everything and access to services is absolutely crucial. Does that all make sense?
It made a lot of sense. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I can tell you're a teacher, the way you summarized that for me and just made it very simple. So thank you. Happy to be here.
That's brilliant. I was running my own consultancy called Distillalytics. And the idea is it distills complicated things into simpler things, so it's nice and clear. So it's good to hear. Thank you for that. Don't know, anyone got any other questions or comments or anything?
Yes, I've got a question.
Go for it, Mark.
So my son, Jamie, gave Richard Hart what I consider to be quite a lot of money for his Pulse X adventure experiment. Was it a shrewd move or has he been a fool?
So again, I'm going to caveat it. This is not investment advice. There are a number of, shall we say, personalities in the crypto space, of which Richard Hart is one of many. And I am always nervous about personalities in the crypto space that you buy off in some way, because I've just got a general distrust. I don't know enough about the Hex token, which I think is what Richard was promoting.
Pulse X.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. What I would offer as a general comment, and it may apply to this or it may not, is anything that involves you buying what are called contracts as opposed to the underlying cryptocurrency. Contracts that you have to buy and sell and trade through a particular organization, I would be really nervous about. So I don't know if you can even buy Hex token on like Binance or Kraken or anything, or whether you have to buy it through Richard's company or something. That always makes me nervous. I've seen a few projects where you have to buy a token off exchange, which is just so dubious. That's why I tend to recommend to people, if you are going to buy something, stick with stuff that is well known and well traded, because then you don't have liquidity problems and access problems and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I think you've asked me that question before, and I dodged a bullet last time.
You just dodged it again.
Yep. I should be a politician as well as an educator. But yeah, I really don't know enough about it, but I'm naturally suspicious and nervous of any celebrity endorsement-y type thing, which Richard is, I think.
Probably very wise.
So anyone for anything else? Dave, you've joined us this week. Do you want to say hi and tell us where you are and what you're doing there?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's great.
Can't see you though.
You can't see me. Well, no, I'm wandering around at the moment, so it's probably best.
A lot of camera shy people here.
Exactly. No, I thought I'd just jump on. I saw the invite and thought I'd come in and hear what's going on and listen to the wise words of you guys discussing what's going on in the Web3 world at the moment. I myself, I'm just the average entrepreneur in this space, trying to create companies and spending money and trying to do something that's going to actually turn into something successful, make this space a better place. But lots of hard work. But no, yeah, I'm just enjoying listening to you guys and completely agree with what you're saying. There's a lot of people in this space that seem to be after a quick buck, and hopefully after all this FTX debacle, I think we are starting to slowly see the space go into a mature space, boring if you like. People are talking about the lack of volatility in BTC at the moment, and how some of the traders and the speculators are moving away from it at the moment because it's not as interesting as it was before. But that's good. It's showing signs of maturity. It shows signs of the space being actually used what it was originally for. Bitcoin was created to improve the space that was left after 2008 and the governments and the housing crisis and all that sort of stuff. And the problem with all new technologies, you build something new and shiny and everyone goes off and goes, wow, let's go do something with it. So the first thing we did with this new technology was create a load of new problems. I think the good thing now is that we can stop worrying about creating new problems and take it back to first principles, look at what it was originally created for, and start solving some of these problems. So I'm old school JP Morgan. I used to work in a department of 200 people moving pieces of paper around. And I've always said that if I work in a company anywhere near that size, 90% of those people are going to be writing code, because that's the way you make things scalable and efficient. So that's why I'm in it, and I'm hoping now we've got this. We've got Bitcoin back up to 35. We've got Bitcoin ETF on the horizon. We've got the halving coming next year. Hopefully we're through the worst of it. Hopefully the green shoots on the horizon, and what comes next is a bit more of a mature and growing system that is actually gonna relate. It's gonna create positives for normal people, not people like us. People that just general people are gonna go, I get it now. That's what we need. We need people that the average Joe that not crypto OGs, not developers, not people with no patience. People that are just gonna go, if it doesn't work, I'm moving on to the next thing. That's the barrier to mass entry. It's getting people. It's getting it to where the value prop, the messaging, the use case, the user experience is it needs to work right now. If it doesn't work right now, then it's not good enough. And that's the next step I see with this.
I would agree. The couple of things I always say is that usability is key. If it's hard to do something, then people won't do it unless there is sufficient benefit in doing it in some way. And it's where I keep encouraging people who keep saying, oh, we need to educate the masses about crypto and blockchain and that. No, we don't. What we need to do is we need to educate the people who are already involved in developing crypto to make it so easy that you don't have to actually explain it to people. They just use it without realizing it.
Whenever I've built software development companies, I've always said the hard work needs to be with the developers, not the users. The users need to be the laziest bastards in the world and can do whatever they want. And I'm sorry, but the team that works for me, they've got to put in the hard work to make it that easy. If you've got a product, say, and the product in this case is crypto, and it's going to be for the users to become easy, it will never be adopted.
That's why Amazon has become such a roaring success. If you're a customer of Amazon, you can't really fault them. If you work for Amazon, you really can fault them. Yeah.
Yep. Elon Musk, another example. You know, everyone loves his products. They want his Tesla. They want his SpaceX. No one wants to work for him.
Yeah. Oh, he's a bitch to work for, apparently. But Dave, have you left corporate now?
I have. I left JP Morgan many moons ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I now have 2.5, 3 startups. One's a new crypto wallet that we just secured funding on our angel round. Another one's tokenization platform that we're going through funding at the moment. Another one's a software development company that it does full stack, but we're trying to pivot to focus mainly on Web3.
Are you looking for any full stack developers?
So no. One thing we will be doing with AppMinds with our Web3 development is creating a platform where Web3 developers can sign up, and we'll have this kind of matching system where if people are looking for developers and developers are looking for people, we can start matching them up. But that's something we're working on at the moment. But yeah, at the moment I'm not looking for developers personally, but I'll happily share with the group once this platform's up and running, because I've been through it over the last few years of trying to find jobs and keep the lights on. If anything I can do to help people and provide opportunities for people to find work is something that I'm very keen to do.
Yeah, so am I. I love helping young people when they leave school or university. The best way for them to find work is through networking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because if they go to Indeed.com or LinkedIn Jobs or whatnot, they're competing with hundreds, if not thousands, of other candidates. The best jobs are unadvertised and found through the grapevine. So I love helping young people find work.
and it's what they want to do as well. The thing is, I think I've been lucky where I've applied for jobs and ended up in a job I liked, but you don't really know if that's going to be the job for you. I think if you're in a position where you're networking, you're talking to people, you know what the company's about, you know what the space is about, you've got a lot more chance of ending up in a role that resonates with, something that makes you want to get up in the morning and something that stops you wanting to go to bed at night. And that's what you want in a job.
Absolutely.
I'm the world's worst employee. I was never really that interested in working, quite frankly. I wanted to party. But now I've put that gregarious side to my nature to good use, and I've built a 500 WhatsApp group ecosystem full of some of the world's leading thought leaders and entrepreneurs. It's where reality and virtual collide gently.
So let's pick up on the networking a bit more then, because I see that Lawrence joined us. I said hi to him, but I didn't give him a chance to introduce himself. So Lawrence, do you want to introduce yourself? And if you're talking, Lawrence, you're on mute. No, he's missing out on an opportunity here. Go on then, Mark. Carry on talking about your networking groups.
So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, business boils down to people and trust. Trust is the key word here. So what I've done is created and curated this environment where these the creme de la creme of LinkedIn, I call them, where they feel safe to engage, and the business comes later. So I'm all about relationship building, and at the end of the day, life is all about relationships. And I'm sitting on a gold mine, because what I've created is impossible to copy. It's exclusive, and it's another buzzword. Exclusive. It's what inclusive.
It's
Exclusive.
exclusively inclusive. We'll tell you what, look, Mark has shared his link to his LinkedIn profile for anyone who wants to reach out to him. I'm conscious that whilst networking is a very important part of this, I want to just bring the topic back onto blockchain and crypto.
We're networking now, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to make sure that those who are attending are getting the kind of like the value out of this kind of thing. So I don't know, Daniel, in terms of, we were talking before about crypto and insurance and that kind of thing. Are you seeing from your side of the fence much interest in that space? I know there are some brokers who are announcing that they're getting into this space. I've been an advisor to one blockchain startup who are live but have had a few challenges of late, and I've supported a few through the Lloyd's of London innovation labs as well. But I don't know, have you had any insights, any companies or anything?
So from my own research, just Superscript, I want to say Superscript, based in London. And off LinkedIn, that's how I really found them. Just doing my own little bits of research. I know they're trying to innovate and bring the space to life in insurance. And to be fair, I'm quite passionate with it being innovated in insurance because I think insurers don't want to touch it. You can see why, I guess so. It's because they don't know enough about it. But it definitely does need to be innovated, and I think we could see within the next year, 2 years, 18 months, they do start making big jumps towards innovating. But Superscript would be the only one I've seen. I work for GMG, and we were recently acquired. It was just my account executive and me as an account handler. We recently acquired, and they've got a small business team who are great with markets, and I've picked their brains, and they can't seem to find anything. And they've got great knowledge of markets because that's all they do all day.
Okay.
So not much, to be fair. Superscript would be the only one I'd say.
So certainly I know a few more than that. Superscript are really good. So they used to be called Digital Risks. They renamed, they rebranded. Ben Davis, I think it is, the guy heads up Superscript. Crypto, really good guy. He's doing a lot of traveling and a lot of promoting around the world at the moment about what they're doing. And they're building up a really good digital assets team. Lockton's is another one. Lockton's, who are a major broker, I think they're in the top 10 in terms of biggest brokers. They've actually got a digital assets team who are, I think it's 40-something people around the world now. So probably different scale to digital risks. To Superscript. They're certainly worthwhile checking out. But what you quickly discover, people who aren't into the insurance market probably won't realize how insurance works, that we as consumers tend to talk to what are known as brokers. So you might have heard of, I mentioned Lockton's and Superscript. They're insurance brokers. And what their job is to speak to the customer, figure out what they want insuring, and then go and speak to what are known as underwriters. And the underwriters are the specialists who actually work out what the risk is, what the probabilities are, and provide the capital to underwrite the risk, hence underwriter. And so in the Lloyd's of London market, there's about, I think it's 85 syndicates roughly. And these are all companies who specialize in underwriting things like marine, so ships, aviation, so aeroplanes, an emerging cyber risk space, and a little bit around crypto. But it's very, very limited at the moment. So there's probably, I think, 4, maybe 5 underwriting organizations who actually know anything about crypto. So if you go to a broker, whether it's Superscript or Lockton's or wherever, they will place the business ultimately with one of these underwriters. So once you get behind the covers, there aren't that many underwriters who understand this. I argue a lot of the underwriters don't even understand cybersecurity, even though they're placing risks in it. They certainly don't understand crypto. And I've probably personally educated, I would guess, over 1,000 in fact, probably several thousand people in the insurance market about crypto and what it is and how it does. So, Daniel's actually been on one of my events with the Chartered Insurance Institute. So that's like the professional body for insurance space. And I've been on a UK tour with the CII doing like a road show on crypto and blockchain, all sorts of stuff, and the Personal Financial Society and various other things as well. So a lot of the insurers still don't get this space, which is why it can be quite challenging that you fill in an insurance proposal form and it's talking about the physical security of the asset. It's like, this is crypto. It doesn't physically exist. But if you go through the proposal form, which admittedly still says it needs to be a handwritten signature in that as well, they still don't quite get it. So I do some stuff in the cryptography space, which is about how you secure digital assets, and trying to get insurance cover for something where you're talking about split keys and zero knowledge proofs and that. And the insurers are generally going, this sounds interesting, but I can't work out what the risk is. So I can't underwrite it because I don't know how much of a risk I'm taking. So it's a fascinating area. But the other thing for everyone to remember, taking it away from insurance bit, is that crypto is still pretty new. If you think about how everyone's talking about artificial intelligence at the moment. So in the UK, there's just been a big conference in Bletchley Park, which is kind of considered as the home of cryptography in the UK. There's a big conference with likes of Elon Musk attended. I think Sam Altwell from OpenAI, or I've forgotten his name, and many others, and also governments and that kind of thing, talking about how you police AI in the future and all this kind of thing. Well, AI has been around for fast approaching 70 years now, and is only just becoming to be, everyone's talking about ChatGPT and generative AI and this kind of thing. So AI has been around for 70 years. Blockchain and crypto has only been around for 15 years or something. So it's pretty young. So I still think we're at the early days. And that kind of comes back as well. We were saying before about, I think it was Simon who was saying earlier on about making things easy. The other thing is about regulation and legislation and that kind of thing. And there are definitely more and more regulations coming in, which will hopefully make this space even better. Sorry, David, it may have been you that mentioned that, in fact. So yeah, I still think this market is fairly early days, and we've got a lot to go yet. So back to the audience, really. Any other thoughts? JT's joined us as well. So Fernando tends to sit and listen, and he's running a really interesting project, which you can see it's got relays up there. So a blockchain, or at least distributed, was it peer-to-peer messaging? Would you describe it as, JT?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's sort of. The way I like to describe it is it's a Web3 version, really, of Zoom, Google Meet, WhatsApp, Discord, anything that is communication. So totally centralized network. Users run the nodes because when you are having a call, for example, on Zoom or Google Meet or whatever you use, it goes through their nodes and through their service. So you can use your imagination, what happens there, with all your data, your conversations, and so on. So by decentralizing this, the users are actually running the nodes across the globe, and actually the encryption is not more like, trust me, bro, we have end-to-end encryption. We can not listen to your calls and messages, but the encryption actually moved to on-chain. So the encryption happens on-chain. You don't need to trust us, you just need to look at smart contracts. And so it's really a decentralized communications network and collaboration, basically. That's how I like to describe it better.
And are you guys in beta now, or are you actually live?
Yeah, we are in what you will see when you go to Relays and start the meeting is release candidate 1, yeah, close to 2. The network is in testnet, yeah. So Yeah, if you use it, just bear that in mind, because, it's just kind of a tuning and then go for the next iteration and so on, because doing something like this is not easy, it's quite hard, to be truly honest, And we kind of achieve all of this pretty quickly, The network, it took us about a year or so to get it done, but the actual relays meet, it took us a bit more, almost 2.5 years.
Because it is a great example of using Web3, but for distributed communications. So pretty advanced in that space. I don't know if anyone,
yeah, distribution. Yeah, it's distributed but decentralized as well, which is the most important part. Yeah, because yes, Zoom, Google Meet, they have distributed. Yeah, but it's their own network. It's not decentralized. Yeah.
Yep. So and it is that all the participants are running their own nodes. So you've not got like any centralized servers or anything. Is that right?
Yes, we still have a few, but the ones that we have are not impacting on the actual decentralization of the video, the network, the encryption. It's just other stuff that we are decentralizing still. It's very complex, the whole environment. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Well, if anyone wants to check that out, relays.io, which is a really, really interesting project. And I've chatted to JT using that before now, and the quality of it is really good as well. I'll say it's better than the quality that I've used with like Google Meet and that kind of thing. So excellent.
Yeah, and no downloads, no installations, no emails, no phone numbers. So truly private, and your identity is your wallet. If you don't have one, we create one for you, like in three clicks, and 10 seconds, basically.
Cool. Lawrence dropped a note to say that he was at the Solana conference in Amsterdam. Lawrence, I don't know if you can share any insights of what was said or talked about
there. Yeah, I can do. I mean, I didn't catch a huge amount of talks because it's just one big party, really. But yeah, I don't know how familiar people are with Solana, but I think one of the biggest things in terms of the infrastructure for the network is a new, and I'm not very technical, so forgive me, but a new client. So I think, maybe what a client actually is, but I know there's one client bit software that the validators currently use, and there's one called FireDancer, which is the second one. So validators can upgrade to FireDancer, and that was launched on testnet. So that was the biggest infrastructure thing. But then the rest of it was kind of like, different projects, different things have been built on it, and lots of after parties and hanging out with NFT people. So, but I mean, they're definitely, if anyone follows the Paul Barron network, really great YouTube to follow. They do have updates and summaries from each day. So you can get a big lowdown from that. But yeah, in terms of, I went to a couple of developer talks, but I'm not a developer, and it just went over my head. So.
What I found when I was first coming into this kind of space is that I go to loads of events like that. I'd probably understand maybe 10% of what was being talked about. But then the next time I went, I understood another 10% and then another 10%. Then eventually you actually begin to understand enough to know that you don't understand. It's a fascinating thing. And Solana, I tend to think of that as you were mentioning, I think, kind of like an NFT-oriented platform. Is that fair?
Well, it's a blockchain just like any other blockchain, but what's built on it is based on the community. So yeah, I mean, look, my experience in the last 3 years of this space has been dominated by speculative flippers of coins and speculative flippers of JPEG. So it's like if you are in social audio, so Clubhouse or Twitter /X Spaces, then all you're going to hear really is the NFT people. That's where the community side has been, because with crypto, it's like, okay, great. I'm a fan of this, a fan of that. Maybe there's a community around the coin, but you get more connection when you own an NFT. It just makes you feel more part of something. So I've known more people in the NFT communities than I have done with like holding Solana and holding Bitcoin, because it's just a ethereal thing in my wallet that I can't see. So yeah, I don't really know what to say with you, but like, it's a blockchain that can be used for anything, and a lot of stuff's being built on it. you know, there's more to it than just NFTs.
Yeah, it is that there's so much going on at the moment in this space. It's difficult, as you say. There's multiple blockchains, there's multiple cryptos, there's all sorts of developments, particularly around tokenization, of which NFTs is just one of many. I'm seeing a lot of growth around what are known as RWAs, or real world asset tokenization. So this whole thing of using tokens to represent ownership of gold or shares or fractional ownership of property. There's so many of these things coming out all the time. And it's fascinating as well that some people might be aware of, there's a technology analysis company called Gartner, and they talk about a hype cycle. So they talk about new technologies nowadays. You've got this kind of like hype cycle on a graph where there's this initial real flurry of interest, an explosion, what they call the peak of inflated expectations. And then as you actually implement the technology, it never works as it should do, and it tails away. And they call that the trough of disillusionment. And then it starts gradual improvements, and you got this plateau of reality after a while. I've seen exactly the same with blockchain. And then within blockchain, I've seen it happen with a series of innovations. So the ICO craze in 2017, 2018, the sudden growth of DeFi a couple of years ago. And then, in fact, in 2018, I think there were quite a few what were known as DAOs as well. So these decentralized autonomous organizations, which is yet another thing. And then there have been NFTs. And then within the NFT craze, there were multiple crazes. So as you say, like JPEG, so like Bay Area Yacht Club, Bored Ape Yacht Club, these monkeys or whatever, which were being sold for ridiculous amounts of money. Then that kind of died away, but then sports clubs started getting into them. So you found there were various football clubs who were tokenizing membership, that kind of thing, that grew. Then there was music for a while, which seems to have died off of late. But various bands were getting into NFTs for tokenizing access to membership benefits and that kind of thing. So one of the NFTs I've got was, I think, the first NFT launched by a particular band that I'm into. So it's a bit like you're having a first edition album cover type thing. So that was quite nice. Sorry, Fuzzy, raise your hand, go for it.
No, I was just going to add to the trends. So in terms, as you were saying, there's all these different niches that come up, and it, like you said, it comes in waves. So the most latest wave of the last 2 or 3 months has been a subset called social fi. So it's tokenizing yourself as a content creator or having some sort of audience or an influence or something like that. So there's a platform called Friend Tech on Ethereum. It did more transaction volume than any other protocol, because there was a gamification and everyone's speculating on an airdrop. There's other forms of this social fi, but I'm just saying it's just another thing. We had like GameFi or whatever they called it, and then this other social finances come along, and then there'll be another wave or something else. So it's, even in the bear market, there's these waves of different things that are coming through and people speculate on.
So in terms of that, where you're talking as social fi, because I remember a while ago that there was a big growth in, was it Steam or something, that there was like a web publishing thing which incentivized people through tokens to either write content or give points for content, that kind of. Is it on that sort of things, or is it more social financing? So more like mutualization?
It can be a lot of things. The different platforms have different things. I mean, for example, myself and Cristal, we're part of a community that's been developing for 2 years. And our platform is a monetization of a content creator. So, if you run a business like you, Gary, you do what you do. Maybe people like your YouTube. They want to get more close to you. We're kind of more like a Patreon model. People have a subscription. They can become a supporter, but the token that they're given isn't transferable. So it's not an NFT, but it's not a token. It's not a coin either. It's just kind of locked in, and there's a bonding curve. So as more people purchase to be a supporter, the price is incrementally going up where I purchase, and you earn royalty fees, creator fees on the buyers and the sales, but you can sell your products. You could sell exclusive content or sell courses. It's got lots of different features. So that's what we're focused on, is more of a monetization tool. But other platforms have kind of just focused on other aspects. It's very new. I've never played on Friend Tech because I don't use Ethereum. I would only hold ETH and sell it. I wouldn't ever use Ethereum because it costs too much. Avalanche had a platform called Star Arena that became very popular amongst NFT people, Web3 native people on X in spaces and stuff. But then that collapsed. That was built by a small team. There's a lot of ambiguity around what happened, but that kind of collapsed, and it was a bit of a rug thing that happened. So it's, these are examples, but there are other ones. Like if you look up something called Rally.io, this is something that was like 2 years ago, and bands like Megadeth and Portugal Demand, they had a token on that platform, which was an Ethereum sidechain. So this, as a concept, has been around for a long time, but different platforms are playing it in a different way. But really, it's tokenizing your audience as a creator. That's the main thing.
Okay, and this is what I say, that you get these things where there are waves, but there are waves within waves, which is kind of fascinating, and it's really interesting to try and pick up what the latest hype is type thing. Because it's when you were mentioning social fi from Mo, I was thinking of it like social financing. So Daniel in particular might be aware, like the insurance industry originally was around mutualization, and so there was a growth at one point of having like mutualization of funds, either for investing or for sharing risk and that kind of thing. So there's a company called Nexus Mutual who are quite hot in this space. They've done some nice stuff around, they don't actually call it insurance now, but protecting against smart contract failure. And that was the whole thing about mutualizing the risk of there being a bug in the software type thing, which, let's face it, in the crypto world, the odds of there being a bug is pretty high. It's a bit like the flood risk when you live on the coast. It's not if, it's when type of thing. So I find all of this quite fascinating. We've got under 10 minutes left before we close for the day. I always try and close these off on time. I don't know if anyone's got any questions or any comments they'd like to share. And Elena's just listening in quietly at the moment.
I'm listening because there are so many interesting things to listen to.
I always describe Elena as like Columbo. If anyone remembers the American cop show, Elena's usually the one that at the last minute who goes, just a quick question. In the first minute, someone said, and she pulls up some brilliant things. So, okay, Elena, no problem. It's good to have you here. But anyone
I have a question.
You have a question? Go for it. Go.
So Lawrence mentioned it earlier that some people only talk about NFTs because this is the community side of things. And then you, Gary, added about real world objects, digitalization and fractional ownership and everything. And so, this is what NFTs are used for. Also for gaming, can be used in medical records or education and stuff and everything. The question, what do you think can be outside of community things that NFTs can be used for? So no, I mean not what we've been discussing. What are the, well, if you know what I mean.
What is the potential? Where else could it be used? Yeah. So I have to be careful. I did a piece of work a while ago with a company who had me sign up the shortest non-disclosure agreement I've ever had. Now, I have to sign a lot of NDAs, and this one was kind of like a one-pager that basically said, if you ever admit you worked for us, we will come and get you. And it was quite an interesting organization, and I suspect they do have the capability to do some interesting things. So I can't talk about specifically what I did with them. However, what we did do is we looked at, they were responsible for a number of very interesting assets, and they were looking at using NFTs to tokenize access to those assets. So as a totally hypothetical, not connected with them whatsoever type thing, think that you've got a piece of fine art and it's in storage somewhere. Okay, people don't realize that a lot of the fine art market, actually the people don't care about the art that they own. It's just the bragging rights. So that's why it's not on display or anything like that. So they just have pieces of fine art in storage, which means it's just locked away, no one can see it, no one can benefit from it. So what you could potentially do, and a few companies done this, is you could do a token that grants access to either saying that you own part of that thing. So, imagine the Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa's worth $60 million or whatever. You could buy fractions of ownership to say that you own a tiny part of the Mona Lisa. So that's not a community type NFT type thing, but it is a fractional ownership. The more common one is, I'm seeing a growth at the moment around tokenization of gold, and tokenization of, there's a project I was talking to someone about the other day, which is the tokenization of a performance car. So like a very high performance sports car where you have fractional ownership of something. So it's like a collector's item. So having a part ownership in a collector's thing, which isn't a community thing, it's just like it gives you an opportunity to make some money if this racing car does well or something. The other one as well, that it's not quite come through yet, but I think it will do pretty soon, is using tokens effectively as digital shares. So instead of having a share that you buy and sell on a stock exchange, the potential to have a token that is the equivalent of the ownership of a share in a company. I think it was the LSE, the London Stock Exchange, they were doing some work on that recently, that they were running a project around that. So there's lots of things that could be tokenized, that it could simply be representing ownership of something in the real world.
I'd like to have a separate discussion with you about that, Gary, because I would like to create a VPN token and then gift that to all the members. And then should it become a runaway success, then they will all benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That's certainly no. Presumably, but by VPN, you mean virtual power network, not virtual private network.
Virtualpowernetworking.com. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I say is that a lot of people will know VPN as in secure or semi-secured network access.
I mean, the very term networking isn't perfect because, of course, there's computer networking.
Yep.
As opposed to business networking. Yeah.
Yep.
There's some innovative areas, Gary. One of them, quite well, insurance. Yeah. So it could be a customized insurance policy with all terms and conditions, etc., and then could be tokenized and made an NFT just specifically for you, for example. Yeah, that's quite an interesting use case. Borrowing money, that could be also representing, through an NFT. I've been listening more and more some new ways. Of course, we know about buying a home. You could NFT your home, yeah, and then that's your proof of your ownership. We know that already. I mean, there's quite a lot of areas that people are exploring, including some of them are quite intriguing. Some others we know, SSID, so self-sovereign identity, people are considering, it could help a lot. Supply chains, we know that for a while, yeah. Yep. Supply chains it's a very, very interesting, very good case for it, So, I mean, there's so many areas where we just don't need. In terms of fractional ownership, I have a totally different opinion. I think you know that. You and I talk about that. Anything that is fractionalized becomes fungible. Therefore, we can't call it non-fungible. It's as simple as that. Anything that's fractionalized is fungible. Full stop. I mean, it's a long discussion, maybe for another day. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something as well. I've seen over 60 real estate tokenization projects that have come and gone, but they've not worked.
Yeah,
and that's because a lot of the time they're run by technology people who understand how NFTs work, but they don't necessarily understand how real estate works. And then they discover the hard way that there are actually laws and rules around fractional ownership of properties and ownership and that kind of thing. So I've seen a few on there. The other one as well is an interesting one, Elena, is there's a thing called securitization. And securitization is what a lot of big companies do, where they effectively sell the rights to future inflows of cash. So you think about, say you're a property landlord, for example, and you know that you receive $1,000 per month from rental of a property. You could actually sell the right to that $1,000 per month. And that's called a securitization process. So big companies do this all the time. They buy and sell the rights to future revenue streams. Well, you can tokenize that. And the interesting thing about the securitization market is that there's no kind of regulation around it. Securitized assets are not, they don't fall within the Financial Conduct Authority. They're not a regulated instrument. So it means tokenizing of it could be quite interesting. But I think there's many more things to come yet. I think we're still early days around tokens. Folks, conscious we're on the hour. It's time to finish, I'm afraid. So thank you everyone who's come along today. Thanks for asking the question and sharing the knowledge and that. Really appreciate it. That's what makes these sessions interesting and interactive. I hope everyone's enjoyed today. Hopefully everyone's learned something, if only a new term or a buzzword or something, like socialfy. This is the thing, each work you learn something new. So thanks everyone for coming along today. Same time next week, everyone can join us. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you.
all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.